I was fat for as long as I can remember, and not chubby fat, but scared to take my shirt off at the pool fat. My appetite was driving me to do insane things, and I was resentful of my genetics until I realized that having a big appetite is a blessing and not a curse. Your appetite is an unnecessarily powerful battery for a clunky old flashlight. If you were to take this battery and put it into a high performance flashlight, you would be able to shine brighter than almost every other light. What I'm saying is, if your appetite is big and you see it as a problem, you may just not be adjusting your lifestyle to your appetite. You have an appetite of an athlete, but the energy output of a beer drinking TV watcher. Now, instead of taking offense to this, please hear me out. You have so much untapped potential. But how about we take a look at the opposite end of the spectrum? There are people who have very small appetites. You know, all those skinny family members and all of your friends which you think have it easy. But in reality, they have a weak battery for a middle of the road flashlight. It would be very hard for them to have enough power and eat enough food to power a high performance light. In other words, to be hyper athletic. And this is a very common downfall in people that have a small appetite and want to gain muscle, for example. How many skinny people do you know that complain about eating so much food but they just still can't gain weight? These people end up being scrawny, skinny fat, and have a very difficult time putting on size. This is all a result of having a small appetite. Some people just can't fuel their bodies enough to grow to a respectable size. So now let's come back to you. What can you practically do here? If you have the powerful battery, the appetite of an athlete, you must become the high performance light. You need to live more like an athlete. Start to exercise and prioritize both strength training, which will grow muscle, and cardio, which will improve your endurance and burn fat. If you have no idea where to start, that is precisely why I created my school community, which you can find in the first link in the description. As someone with a bigger appetite, you should never cut down on how much food you're eating, but rather power yourself with higher quality foods. If you slowly over time switch from Oreos and ice cream to vegetables and meat, you will be able to eat more total food in volume, you will be leaner, more athletic, and overall feel better. And yes, this will take some time. You can't just go from 0 to 100, but I do assure you this process is possible. And how do I know this? Because this is exactly what I did. So let's take a look at that. When I was at my fattest and my powerful battery was in a very old clunky light, I did zero exercise, my food selection was horrible, I ate chocolate, weird starch mixes, candy, ice cream, and the list goes on. The first step I took was I started a light exercise schedule 3 times per week. I did a push-pull leg split with my body weight at home, but if I could go back in time, I would rather have done a full body workout 3 times per week. Then, slowly, I started making my diet better. But when I say slowly, I mean very slowly. I simply started by removing sugar from my coffee and not eating a bag of nuts every single day, which gave me an extra 1,000 calories. With just these simple changes, I was already seeing some pretty crazy results. I then decided to better my exercise selection, and I also added cardio 3 times per week for around 30 minutes. After roughly 3 months of all of this, I joined a gym, and over the next 6 months, I bettered my diet, did more lifting, and a little bit more cardio. It took me roughly 1 whole year to take my powerful battery and put it to good use, so to speak. Now, years later, I lift 6 times per week, do 30 minutes of cardio 6 times per week, eat relatively clean foods day to day, and also do combat sports roughly 2 to 3 times per week. And even though I do all of this, it seems as if I have limitless energy thanks to my big appetite, which before got me fat, but today keeps me energized even when doing hours of exercise per week. So remember, your appetite may actually be a blessing and not a curse. And it's all up to you to change that. Stay savvy with your diet.